Hi, my name is Angel. Welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, I have decided I am going to be hosting a readathon. I have never done this before, so I'm very excited. I'm very nervous. Bear with me, but in this video I'm going to go through all of the details, give a few book recommendations for different prompts with this readathon. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Clearly, this readathon is called the Ominous October Readathon, just to get a little bit of alliteration. This is inspired because last year I decided for the month of October I was going to read nothing but horror, with a few exceptions, which we will get into in just a second. But I decided I want to make that a recurring thing and just do that every year in October, just make it a horror-only month. And I thought, why not bring in some other people and make a little readathon out of it so I can read with other people. Somebody really decided to start their lawnmower as soon as I started filming this. We love that. Sorry for any background noise. So the readathon will be going from October 11th to October 17th. It is a week-long readathon. The challenge is to read only horror for this entire week. But if you want to go a little bit longer and you want to join me in doing the whole month, feel free. But I felt like that was a lot to ask of people on the internet, so we'll just keep it to 1 week. I have created a fun little bingo card with different prompts to hit during the readathon, so we're gonna go through that now and just look at it. I'll give you guys some book recommendations based off of some of the prompts. So let's go ahead and get into that. So our first bingo prompt is to read a book with occult elements. There are a whole bunch of different things that could fit into this category. Occult really covers a whole lot. So to give you a few recommendations that I myself have read and enjoyed, first of all, the book of the Most Precious Substance by Sarah Gran. This was one of my top books for last year. It may not work for everybody. It does deal with like dark sex magic, so just be aware of that, but it is a fantastic read. We also have The Ruins by Scott Smith is another one that could fit into the occult element genre, I guess. Also Negative Space by B.R. Yeager. That one wasn't my favorite, but I can see a lot of other people enjoying it, and it's a good one to pick up for this prompt. So there's a whole lot you can fit in here, but if you're having a hard time finding a book and you want to just go the witchy route, there are a whole lot of witchy horror books. A few that I plan to pick up myself. I really want to read Cackle by Rachel Harrison, and I'm hoping to read Slewfoot as well in October, so that gives you a whole lot more options. Our next prompt is to post a picture of your current read on Instagram. This is pretty simple. Anybody can do it that has an Instagram account. If you don't have Instagram, feel free to post that somewhere else, or if you even just want to comment on my channel and just say, my current read is this, and I don't have Instagram, so I'm not going to post a picture. That's totally fine as well. Our next prompt is to read a book that takes place on or around Halloween. So I actually plan to do a whole separate recommendation video for books that fit into this, but a few that I am planning myself to pick up in October. We have All Hallows by Christopher Golden, Halloween Fiend by C.V. Hunt, Dark Harvest by Norman Partridge. Also, there is Kill Creek by Scott Thomas, which takes place on Halloween night. So there's a lot of options with this one as well. Like I said, I will be making a full-length recommendation video for this prompt. Moving on, we have Read with a Fall Treat. Once again, pretty easy. You don't have to bake it if you're not a baker. I myself am going to attempt to take on a baking, but if you want to just run to the store and get a fall treat, that's fine as well. Our next one is to read a horror novella. There are so many horror novellas. I'm sure I don't have to sit down and tell you guys a whole lot. That would take literally forever. One of my favorite authors, Eric LaRocca, does a lot of novellas, so I would always recommend those. Some that are on my personal TBR are Bad Vibrations, Woodworm, Nothing But the Rain, An Excellent Host, The Beauty, Bloom, Dead Animals, Graveyard Shift, To Be Devoured, Your Mind is a Terrible Thing, Dirty Heads, and We Need to Do Something. So that'll give you a few ideas. I'm not planning to read all of those in October, but There are books that are on my TBR in general. The next one is to read from a new to you author. This is pretty straightforward. I don't think it needs a lot of explanation. This is just reading from an author that you've never read from before, which is really fun. Our next one is to have a friend pick your next read. So I put this one in here because what I did last October as well, I did a video where my boyfriend chose what I read for a week. I had a whole stack of horror books from the library and he got to choose my reads for the entire week. I wanted to keep that a tradition as well, so I'm forcing him to do it again this year. So I thought it would be fun to have you guys have somebody pick your next read as well. So if you have a friend on social media, in real life, a family member, a significant other, or if you want to message me and have me pick a book, I am always here to be your friend. So I think this will be a fun way to kind of mix it up a little bit. Let me tell you guys, it was a quiet morning. It was so nice. And then I sit down and I start filming and everybody in the neighborhood decides now's the time to make noise. Don't you know it's a holiday? It's Labor Day. Why are you working? Anyways, our next one is to read a book that has been on your TBR longer than a year. I thought this was a fun challenge to hold ourselves accountable. I know I have a whole bunch of books that have been on my TBR for well over a year, so we want to check those off. So if you have one, go ahead and check it off. If you don't have any books on your TBR for longer than a year, you can just choose one that's been on there for the longest time. And our last prompt for the regular bingo is to match your outfit of the day to your current read. This is just something silly and fun that I wanted to include. So if you want to share photos of that, you can do that on Instagram as well. So that's everything for the standard bingo. You don't have to check off every single one. It works just like a regular bingo game. So you would just get 3 in a row in order to complete a bingo. But if you do want to go above and beyond and check everything off, definitely feel free to. However, I've also included something special for you overachievers out there. We have a bonus bingo. So we have 3 extra prompts that are not required, but if you want to go above and beyond and check them off, you may as well. So the first one is to do a buddy read, which I myself didn't give a lot of thought to because I don't have a buddy read set up yet. So if I'm going to get blackout on my whole bingo for my own readathon, I need to find somebody to do a buddy read with. So if any of you guys want to do a buddy read, if you're interested in reading any of the books that I've mentioned so far that I will be reading, I also want to read some Stephen Graham Jones, some more David Sodergren, some Anya Alborn. Let me know if you guys are interested in doing a buddy read and we can try to work together and pick out a book. Maybe there's a few of us that want to join as a group and do this, but let me know. Our next bonus bingo is to read a book 400 plus pages long. You guys can see why this is in the bonus section. It is a big task to take on a book longer than 400 pages for a week-long readathon, but I thought it would be fun. We gotta mix it up a little bit, okay? We got our horror novella. Now let's get a longer horror book. And our last bonus bingo is where I said we kind of have a little bit of an exception to the only horror rule, and that is to read a nonfiction book about horror. I did this last year in October as well, and I really, really enjoyed it. And this year I've seen a couple of upcoming releases that are nonfictions about horror, so I really want to pick those up. So if you're looking for some recommendations on these, the 2 that I read last year were The Black Guy Dies First, Black Horror Cinema from Fodder to Oscar. This is by Robin R. Means Coleman and Mark H. Harris. And I also read It Came from the Closet, Queer Reflections on Horror by a whole collection of people. So those are 2 options. The 3 that I am looking at reading this year, I don't know if I'll be able to get my hands on all 3 because like I said, 2 of them are pretty new releases. I think one of them is set to come out in October, so that's kind of a risky ask. But the first one I have is Feeding the Monster, Why Horror Has a Hold on Us by Anna Bogutskaya. I don't know if that's how you pronounced it, but it sounds super interesting. I think this book published in August, so it's pretty new. I don't know how many people have read it. The next one is American Scary, A History of Horror from Salem to Stephen King and Beyond. This is by Jeremy Dauber. This one is set to come out October 1st, so I'm really hoping I can pick it up and read it in October because I think that would be really, really fun. And then the other one that's kind of on my TBR is called Behind the Horror, True Stories That Inspired Horror Movies, and this is by Lee Meller. So there's a whole lot. I'm sure there's way more than I've even scratched the surface of. but that's a fun challenge for us if you want to pick up a nonfiction about horror. So that's pretty much it for the entire bingo. I have created these cute little cards that we can insert our TBR books into if we want to post and share on social media. There's a few different options. So I hope you guys are excited. Like I said, cut me some slack. I've never done this before, but all of the information and all of the graphics and things will be on my Instagram page. It is at Reading Wavy. The link is always in the description down below, and you can always refer to this video as well if you need some more information. So with that being said, I hope you guys are here to join me for my October Readathon and get into the Halloween spirit with all of our horror books. Let me know down below if you guys want to participate, if you want to do a buddy read. What are some things that come to mind when you look at the prompts? Give me some book recommendations. I'm sure I could use them. With all of that being said, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys during the Readathon.